Let us meet tonight's panel. His newest book is A Long Short War, The Postponed Liberation of Iraq. I don't always agree with him, but there is nobody I enjoy reading more than Christopher Hitchens. He is a research fellow at the Coalition on Urban Renewal and Education, my old job, and an expert in domestic and foreign policy issues. Tara Maher, how are you? Good to see you back here on the new show. And finally, to say the least, the gifted actor of film and television, more importantly, a citizen who will never give up his right to free speech. You can see him this fall in The Cat in the Hat, one of my favorite actors, Alec Baldwin, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So, you were watching that with Frank and Flynn. What do you think? Is gay the new communism for the Republican Party?
No, but the thing that I thought was interesting was if when you talk about marriage and procreation, then would you then, what Flynn was saying made me think that there would be two statuses of marriage in our society, those that procreate and those that don't. So would gay couples be lumped into a category with heterosexual couples that don't procreate? You know, right. I'm wondering, is procreation the linchpin, therefore, for his argument?
Shouldn't we be against procreation at this point in time with overpopulation and the strain on the resources in this planet? Shouldn't we reward people who don't spawn? I'm serious.
We have that. It's called the pro-choice movement. No, the issue that they brought up here is one that I think that there's a broader political agenda here. The gay community wants to expand their agenda to a special protection minority class, which they're not. Homosexuals afford the same rights as everybody else, and they have to abide by the same restrictions. Oftentimes, they consider this to be a civil right.
Wait a second. If they can't get married, that is not the same rights as everybody else.
And if they don't have the same tax status as a married couple.
But this is a no. But see, the difference here is that, like I said, there's a greater political agenda here to dilute the institution of marriage, which 60%, according to a Time CNN poll just this past month, said 60% of Americans do not believe that homosexuals should engage in marriage or civil union.
Who do you think is trying to dilute the institution of marriage? Consciously dilute it?
I think that there is an effort by the left and the gay community to do that, to make their abhorrent behavior more acceptable. Because if we want to quote the Bible, in Leviticus, it says,
you're British. You must be at least partly gay. What's your take on this?
You went to boarding.
That's why.
Yeah, come on.
Don't believe everything you hear about our boarding schools, but don't disbelieve it either. We know how many beans make five. The reason why the Republicans should be more in favor of this is precisely on this point of sameness. It used to be that the gay movement said, we're different, we're queer, we're here, get used to it, but we're not like you.
Right.
The desire to be the same, to say we want to be middle class and married and have mortgages and entitlements and inheritance and so on, should be a Republican goal.
Yeah.
My feeling is that, I think I'm the first person to make this point, it would be...
Certainly the first one tonight.
They laugh at practically anything. That's encouraging. It would prevent gay people from trying to be happy by marrying heterosexual people, because it has been a huge cause of unhappiness during the years. It may have happened to someone you know. A lot of them thought, let's try and pass, let's see if we can straighten ourselves out.
That's why they went into the priesthood.
A lot of people would become...
No, seriously. No, I'm not kidding about that. A lot of priests, I think, don't you think?
Yes, I think I can safely say.
The priests are what?
They're married to Jesus, aren't they?
The nuns are married to Jesus.
The nuns are married to Jesus.
Oh.
So it'll prevent them
He's
from...
He's behind in child support, by the way.
It would prevent people from trying to make heterosexuals unhappy by marrying them, as it were, in the closet.
Yeah.
That's one solid thing. But it seems to me still some small way to miss the point of being gay. I mean, if I was gay, I would think, well, I'm not glad necessarily that I am, but at least I don't have to do all of that. Because getting married and having children, it
is a nice add.
Yeah, but where do we draw the line, though? I mean, all of our social scientists show that, you know, that this dysfunctional, non-traditional relationships are not good
That's
for
so
the family structure.
insulting to call it
isn't.
dysfunctional, isn't it?
It is a deviance from behavior. Like I said before, if you want
do you
to
know any gay people?
plenty. I live in the U.S.
Do you think they're faking? Do you think that one day in high school they just said, how could I get beat up more?
No, I had
Then why isn't...
no. I mean, but I also believe that it's a chosen lifestyle. We're talking about a
chosen? You've got to be kidding.
Yes, it is behavioral choice.
You made a chosen, but you made a comment before.
Solid scientific evidence to say that there is a gay gene. Let's be real about
Wait a second. But
There's no gay gene, but you've met people who know from birth.
There is a gay gene, Jordache. Anyway, I want to move on to Iraq.
Just on the point of sameness.
All right.
Sameness is not the same as equality. It's deviant to have Christian polygamy in Utah. What about gay polygamy in Utah? Wait for gay divorce. Just wait.
But more disturbing. Wait for gay prenup.
Wait for gay prenup.
But what's more disturbing to me is when you say that you think that homosexuals are out to derail the legitimacy of.
I think there's a big.
I don't know anybody who's gay who is disgusted by heterosexual marriage.
Well, they
I don't know anybody who's gay who sits there and goes, ooh, people that are married
They
have
shouldn't
children.
be.
That's
Families
yes, they call them breeders.
Families are the building block of civilized society. We built society from the bottom up, first with individual rights, second with families.
All right, let me ask you about Iraq, because I know you've written a lot about this. You probably are against him on this. I think I was against you as far as we should go into Iraq. But you made the case that Saddam Hussein was as evil as Stalin. But, and I read that, and again, you write brilliantly about it, but Stalin was somebody we contained and didn't go up against. Why do we have to go up against Saddam Hussein if he is obviously not quite as powerful as Stalin was?
I actually wrote that he was nasty as Stalin, but perhaps as crazy as Hitler. The point about Stalin was he was containable because he was essentially rational, cold, calculating. The Fuhrer was not. The Fuhrer was a nutcase.
So Saddam Hussein...
Fuhrer was a nutbag. Saddam Hussein, in 1990, they went to the CIA, they showed them the pictures, they said, looks like he's going to invade Kuwait next week. The CIA said he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't be so insane as to do such a thing. Why would he do it? He would bring terrible revenge on him. Well, he still did do it. He was mad enough to do it. He remained mad enough to do that and a lot of other...
Well, maybe what he knew was that he would
things.
stay in power because the people who were in Washington wouldn't finish the job.
He couldn't have bet on that. He couldn't have... He would have been unwise to bet on that.
He didn't look so insane with the outcome. The outcome was...
He would be very unwise to bet on that, but then, okay, take your point. He can't have still thought that when he could have come into compliance with the United Nations resolutions in March of this year. They said, just come into compliance, you'll probably save your regime if you do.
That's right. If he was a rational individual, then he would have come into compliance,
he would
and
not
he'd probably still be in power now.
No.
But he's not. He's a megalomaniac. He's he is a psychopath, and he's completely, to the point where,
Right.
It bars the imagination how.
Right, and no one defends Saddam Hussein. We didn't when we were arguing we shouldn't go into Iraq. We were just saying we don't think this is the way to fight the war on terror by attacking a country that had nothing to do with the terrorism that was attacking us.
Well,
But that's arguable.
Okay.
That's certainly not...
That's right. That's very naive.
So you think...
It's naive for you to believe the bullshit. Okay, you go.
Which is more troublesome? Which is more troublesome to you? I was just curious. The weapons of mass destruction issue in Iraq or the connection to Al-Qaeda?
Neither of them are troubling to me, except that I think that they should both be met with force. I mean, I believe in both connections.
And they're not mutually exclusive.
Saddam Hussein was, till the last minute, incubating weapons of mass destruction, as will be demonstrated. And I could go, and did go, to Baghdad to meet Abu Nidal, who used to be a more wanted man than Osama bin Laden, and find him without difficulty because he had a villa and a telephone number and was a member of the...
Yes, Iraq had an old folks' home for terrorists. That's what they had.
This guy, that was when his career was just starting.
Oh, please.
Saddam Hussein claimed to pay, until recently, for all the suicide bombings in Palestine. Mr. Zarqawi went from Afghanistan to Baghdad. Not an easy trip to make unless someone in Baghdad wants to see you, and remained there and has only just been caught. No. Baghdad was the safe house, the safe capital for all of international gangsterism. And the extraordinary thing is not that it was put a stop to, but that it was allowed to go on for so long.
And do you think it should be allowed to go on any longer with the Saudis as well?
No, but the Saudis are being put in their place partly by the invasion of Iraq.
Put in their place?
Yes.
You've got to be joking.
No, I'm not.
Well,
even on your show, Mr. Maher, I never try and be funny. I know better. I know better. I leave that
to
to you.
Saudis in their place.
Well,
The Saudis' oil monopoly has just been broken. The reason why the Saudis were so opposed to the regime change policy in Baghdad, and their lobby in Washington, and all their allies were opposed to it, was because they liked Saddam Hussein as their buffer state, and while he was beggaring and ruining his country, they were in command of the Arab oil market, which they're now not going to be.
The oil oligarchy has been upset in Saudi Arabia.
Now we want to make the quarrel
result.
with them a little more intense than it is, and I think the president should be getting on with that. But there's no question the Saudis have been penalized and downgraded by this situation.
Penalized? They have been protected. They were taken out of the report that just came out last week.
Yes, that's true. That's why I say the president should make the quarrel more intense and more personal. But we've told them the bases are coming out of Saudi Arabia. You can look after yourselves from now on. That they've been caught, they've been rumbled.
And I think that there has been a certain amount of protection on behalf of the administration with Saudi Arabia.
You do?
Yeah, I do, up until this point. But I think that Saudi Arabia has been put on notice because ever since September 11th, slowly but surely, the pieces have been coming out about their role in this. And even with the
Which
exposure,
was as the attackers.
Well, they financed
Just
it.
that little thing.
Yeah, you know, I mean, they financed.
Wait a second. Most of the hijackers were Saudi Arabian.
15 out of 19 of them were.
Okay, they financed them over here.
Yep.
The money, and on a deeper level, the money that comes out of Saudi Arabia goes to madrasas in countries all over the world and fuels the kind of anti-American hate that is bringing up the new terrorism.
And Wahhabism, the fanatics of Wahhabism in Saudi Arabia are in higher-ups in the government there, and I think that the administration needs to take a firmer approach to Saudi Arabia and let the American people know that we will not tolerate this type of behavior. They are not our allies. It's clear.
What do you think is the U.S. goal in Iraq now in terms of their long-term goal, and do you think they're going to succeed?
Well, I think the aim is to begin clearing the political slum of which Saudi Arabia is part in the region, and to show that there can be a government of, by, and for Iraqis, which would mean they were the only people in the region who could have that set of themselves. And yes, I would say that the progress being made in that direction is pretty good. I was just in Baghdad last week. The new governing council has representatives from every Shia group, most of the Sunni groups, the Kurds, the Communist Party, the exiled Democrats, the liberal reformists. It's an impressive group of Iraqis. For the first time, Iraqis can turn on the TV and see people they know.
Do you think the resistance now is
and would be willing to vote for in charge of their country? It's a remarkable thing. I think people should be very proud of what the U.S. has done in bringing it about.
I want to show you some pictures here because they say that Saddam Hussein is on the run.